We back in the lab, we making some noise, so go turn your decibels up. Black skin, white coat, oh no, who was nice as us? Made Jimison, really told us no limits, so we about to take us up. Went from mixing in the kitchen to the lab, and now I can make this up. Whoa! B-SCI, be scientist, B-SCI, be scientist. We shining a light on the people of color to show them how fly it is. B-SCI, be scientist, B-SCI, be scientist. We back in the lab with white coats on our back, trying to show what time it is. Hey.
And welcome back to the B-Scientist Podcast, a podcast by the Black Science Coalition Institute, or B-SCI. When you hear this noise, that is our in-podcast citation. If you would like to see our citation archives, please go to b-sci.org/B-Scientist to see all of our citations ever. I'm Jordan Chapman, and this is, of course,
Jana Carpenter.
And today, we really don't have a topic because we are stressed. We're stressed.
Yeah, it's final season. Shout out to all you academics surviving this season. Maybe some of you are graduating, which is exciting. Congrats. We are not, however.
Nope. Not yet.
Not quite there yet. And I am feeling it.
Yeah. This is the end of your first year, right?
Yes. They said it couldn't be done. And by they, I do mean me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. So many questions. First question might not be a fair question because I kind of know the answer. But how are you feeling about it, Jenna?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm upbeat. I'm happy. I'm excited.
It
Just
like
kidding. That was a good one, guys. That was a late April Fool's joke. It is currently May 1st.
It's May 1st.
So I am a little late.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling quite stressed. But I do feel like I've learned a lot this semester and this year in general. But overall, I'd say, I'm surviving, and that's fine.
Anything in particular that you learned?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about separation science, which is directly related to how I'll be conducting my research. So I do metabolomics research using liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, and we also implement ion mobility. And so I've kind of just learned how to optimize certain methods that are particular to liquid chromatography. So that's been interesting. I've also done some research with my lab members, and we're hoping to get a publication out soon. So there's so much to learn, though.
Yeah.
How about you? You just finished up your third year, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's my third year. I think that sounds about right, Jenna. Honestly, it's hard to keep track after year number one because a lot of it does feel like it's running together. But I think you're right. I think it's the end of the third year.
So it doesn't get better after the first year, is what you're saying?
We've had this conversation before. I do think it gets better. It just does not get easier.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we love a challenge.
Yeah.
So
right.
That's fine.
I mean, that's the truth. It does not get easier. It just gets better. Like, you learn to deal with more things, I guess. You just get more comfortable with some of the bullshit that's going on, and I apologize. But I mean, that's what it is, or at least that's what it feels like. You're just dealing with that all day. It's just, you learn the things that you don't like about grad school and academia, basically. You just see the nonsense. You see the good things too. Don't get me wrong. There's good things. Like, I do think if I had more teaching opportunities, I would kind of like teaching. But the research aspect of it can get a little hairy sometimes just because it is groundbreaking. We're becoming knowledge producers. And that's the way I keep thinking about it. It's just when people are like, oh, like when you're watching the news, when you're used to watching news, and you're like, oh, like some new study came out that said if you drink wine, which is not true, actually, it's not going to anyway. but something like that. You're watching news and like there's a new study out. We're becoming those people now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be on the news one day because it's something we found. Who knows? But it's just like because of that, we're in this, and we also have some landscaping going on, so we apologize for any noise you hear in the background. But when that happens, it just becomes like you're that person, and it's hard to be that person. It's hard to be on that edge because no one's done it before. No one's done it. No one's telling you how to, it's hard, and no one can tell you how to do it because you're the one who has to learn how to do it so you can tell other people how to do it. So it's just
Right. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I will talk to my lab mates about, I just read this paper and wow, it's really revolutionary what they're coming up with. Where do you even start knowing how to do something so different and so
yeah.
new? That I think is something I'm not at all used to or comfortable with quite yet. And I think I totally agree. It's just like you're kind of just throwing darts in the dark. And,
Yeah.
sometimes those darts hit you back,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's always fun.
It's
But
called the reviewing process.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of doing some corrections on our review from reviewers, and I think that's actually something that I would like to talk about because
Cool.
I finally started learning the lingo of how you respond to reviewers. And really it's just coddling their ego is the phrase that keeps coming up from academics, and I love that.
Uh-huh.
And
This is
also hate it.
this is actually new to me because I have not published or been in the publication process. So explain to me what you mean by like coddling people's egos.
Right. Okay. So you have a manuscript of all the work you have, your intro, whatever,
Yeah.
experimentation. You submit it and, you're like, I did so good on this. There are no mistakes. And the reviewers are like, actually, yeah, there are so many. And we hate you also. And it's like, whoa, wait. I thought I did so good. And they're like, well, this is where you messed up. And this is what I would like to see personally, just for me, because I'm special.
Oh.
I'm an expert in my field. Do what I say. And then so you're like, I see you, I hear you. You're so smart, and we appreciate your comments and concerns. And this is how we've addressed it. Please be happy. We want to publish so bad. And then they're like, okay, cool. I guess we'll publish you. So yeah, I hope that was a good professional.
I think you explained it
Was that
perfectly.
pretty good?
I again, this is new territory to me too.
Same.
But
Same.
sure, why not? I mean, it's always weird when like it's not what you think it is. You would think it'd be like, hey, on line 17, you forgot to mention that this blah 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 blah, and you forgot to add a period.
That does happen too.
Okay.
I've seen that happen too. And I guess it's weird because some journals will require you to publish like what you responded to your reviewers with.
Oh.
And that's your option if you want the world to see like how they drug you. But it's just interesting because some reviewers will be like, yeah, line 17 could have been better, and here's how you could have made it better.
Right.
And then other reviewers are like, this one theory that we mentioned back in the 1950s, why didn't you mention that? I know this is modern or whatever, but I like that concept. Bring it back.
I could see that. I could see that happening. Again, like I have not been in like the formal review process, but from doing GRFP, yeah, I did get like some comments back, and then I've written a proposal, and my advisor has kind of looked at it and done similar things, and he's on like the editorial boards for other journals. Like,
Yeah, so then you probably
yeah.
have way more experience than I do.
I do
'cause
not.
and by association, I feel like those are gets the same kind of comments getting back, like, this is where you need to fix things or whatever.
No, I'm sure it's similar in some ways, but like if my advisor sends me something back, that's between us. But if you publish, or if you're trying to publish something and you're trying to get it into a paper, then like, it's more of a team effort, and that's something that's common in like the hard sciences versus like sometimes like the social sciences, especially from some aspects of archaeology. It's not all aspects, but some archaeology is more social science than hard science. So that happens sometimes. But when it's more of a team thing, it's like that's all of you guys riding on that. And everyone's kind of contributed in some way. Maybe someone did some part of the research. Maybe someone just typed up the manuscript. It could be
Right.
different things. But when it's just me and my advisor, and I'm like, oh, here, look at this thing that you asked me to write because it's supposed to be helpful for me. at a certain point, and this is not good. And if my advisor ever listens to this, I fully apologize for what I'm about to say. But at a certain point, I'm going to go, this is fine because now I've done enough and now I need to move on. And also, I'm losing attention to this now because I think I should move on and do something else. And that happens. If you're doing like a publication that might be put in like an actual journal, like that's good for your career. Like this is going to be your first one. That's going to be on your CV. It's like, oh, we should give Jenna this job because she published that paper back in 2021.
I mean, I am only third author, so
That's not bad, though.
And yeah, like going back to what you were saying, a lot of the corrections do fall on like the order of authorship, but it is still a collaborative effort.
Right.
So it's like it doesn't feel like everything is just on one person. So I feel like yeah, when you're getting back feedback on your particular work, it can be like daunting because that's all on you.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no.
So no. And I feel like in many ways that's much more like research building. I don't know, because it's all supposed to be like a learning process or whatever. And I don't want to end this on, yeah, just coddle their egos.
Yeah.
But also, yes, it is a learning process and
Yeah.
I'm respecting that process and stuff. So
No, I get that. It is a learning process. I mean, and again, that just goes back to, it's a learning process. It's just not it's literally the most difficult learning process you could ever do. And I
Yeah.
think that is the hard part. And it's because it is, it's like being an exposed wound all of the time. And you
Right.
feel it and you're like, oh, like, look at this paper. It's good, right? No, you forgot to mention 1,000 things. Or like even I'm preparing for comprehensive exams in the fall and doing the bibliography for that and sending that to my committee has been an interesting experience because I'm like, I just need to read all this stuff. And they're like, do you need to read all of this stuff? You might know some of this stuff. I'm like, I know some of this stuff. I do not know all of it. Do you think you need to know as much stuff as you're saying you need to know? I do think I need to know this. And it's weird that you're telling me I don't need to know this.
right.
Or like that I don't need to focus on it as much because it seems pretty crucial to the project. And it's stuff like that. It's just like, that's been interesting to see. Literally, like maybe like 20 minutes ago, I told Jenna that I probably do the most. And this is probably me doing the most. And I'm not going to lie about that. Like, because it is like a lot of reading to do. And I have to do it pretty much over the next 3 to 4 months. Hopefully 3 and not 4. But it is a lot. But I do think it'll make me a better scientist. Because if there's one thing that I've learned in my trajectory through grad school has been that I would like to make archaeology a little bit more of, or at least push some aspects of it into the earth sciences more than what those aspects currently are, because I don't feel like it's enough. And that's because I also have a geology background and a geography background. And I didn't realize that, and it's kind of crazy that I didn't, but like maybe within the last few months, like literally in the middle of grad school, when you think someone should probably notice, but I had somehow prepared myself to be an earth scientist without actually realizing that's what I was doing. So now that's kind of, I just want to keep pushing that bar, I guess. So it's just, you learn new things about yourself and then the things you're doing along the way too.
Yeah, it is funny to see things circle back to like, oh yeah, this is why I was doing this like 3 years ago. Like it's starting to click together.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of a painful process because it's like you're growing pains. Is how it feels, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's been a weird year, and I definitely still have so many moments of like, man, I should have known that, or like,
Oh yeah.
man, I should know these things.
That's
know?
not going to go away.
Yeah, which is great. I love that because I love validating my fears and anxieties. But
Yeah.
because it makes me feel less crazy when they get validated. But I think what's more important is that knowing that you're not alone in that feeling and that everyone is truly feeling like that. Because if people weren't, they would already be PhDs and like these renowned scientists who get Nobel Peace Prizes, like they would already be there. And,
Right.
you know, we're all still growing and trying to understand where we fit into that whole process. So trying to be more patient with myself in terms of like that aspect.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I will say, you said something about Nobel Peace Prizes, and they mess up too, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
there are some pretty famous cases of like Nobel Peace Prize winners in science just being like, dude, what are you doing right now? This is not good.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing that's happened this semester is we kind of took apart in my omics class, and that was kind of a combination of proteomics, metabolomics, and lipidomics. And we just exactly, it's a great field. I love just saying omics. I'm an omics person, but we kind of completely took apart this article, reprocessed their data, and said, okay, did they actually do this to a standard that we would consider
Legit.
good research?
Yeah.
Right. And turns out, you know, people sometimes they just don't care. They want results, and they throw in as much bias as will get them there.
People do that, and that is frustrating because I hope I never become that type of researcher. But people do that. Jenna's cat is like trying to cuddle right now.
Yeah, she
like
needs all the attention.
It's a nice de-stressor, which leads me to ask, segue. What have you been doing to like de-stress during these last few weeks as we get into the end of the semester?
Yeah, I'm not good at de-stressing, in all honesty, but for my physical stress, which it comes in the form of acid reflux, because that's a thing that
happens,
grad school, that's just like a side effect of grad school. So Tums has been great. It's a nice little treat for your tummy. And then actual ways that I've been de-stressing has been anime, because I need that disconnection. Also, I can't believe I never mentioned this, but D&D has been great. I love D&D, which is Dungeons and Dragons, for all you nerds out there. But yeah, for anime, I've been watching a lot of Attack on Titan. So just really gruesome, terrible, gut-wrenching. It's been great. I love it.
Dope. I am not a huge fan of anime, but I know a lot of people who are. Dungeons and Dragons is one I've always wanted to get into, but I just can't find the time.
It is, I will say, so many assignments have been turned in late as a result of me choosing to play Dungeons and Dragons for 6 hours.
No, I mean,
so
that's fair though.
That is a thing. It is not. It hurts my procrastination, and so in that case, I understand.
Yeah.
But it is fun to escape reality just for a moment.
No, for sure. I do play video games, and those are nice escapes from reality, honestly. I used to be able to do like long ones, like big open world games, just running around doing a bunch of missions.
Mario Kart?
I usually don't have Nintendo, so I don't usually play. But it is fun. I will say I do like Mario Kart, but like I just can't do like the big open world games anymore. I need one that's more story driven and can be done in like almost like one sitting almost, or like maybe like a couple, because the ones that get real long, I just lose track of it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is over now.
Yeah, and I'm not a video games person, but I'm guessing like Zelda is like one of those types of story building games that are, I mean, that's pretty long though.
I have heard I have heard of it, and I do want to play. There's one that's on Switch that I've heard is really good, but it does sound long.
Yeah.
Anything that's like, so one game I've got into is Tekken. Like, it's just a fighting game, because you could just fight somebody and then leave in 20 minutes.
Well, you also fight in real, well, not fight in real life. You're not just out there like throwing hands
just throwing hands at anybody. I want this PhD. But yeah, no, like, yeah, so that's a fun one. That's like a nice bit of escapism, because it's just literally like, I'll play like a couple rounds. I usually don't, because I'm procrastinating. But theoretically, I could play for like 20 minutes and then just be done. And nothing's changed. Nothing about the game has changed. There's no big boss fight. It's just you fight another character in the game. You win or you lose, and the game's over basically.
Love that.
And it's just over. Like there's nothing else. There's no like, oh, so like, hey, don't you know that one dude over there, yeah, he wants you to go over to the ocean and pick up 10 shells and bring them back here so he can make you a shell monster. And you're like, what's a shell monster? And you're like, oh, it's a really big animal that you need to complete this quest that's going to come up in like 3 more quests. I just can't do that anymore.
Right.
Or not as much.
Yeah, I've heard of people really getting into, it's like an island and it's very chill, and you're on this island and people can come visit you.
Oh, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, that's right. That one seems more my speed.
No, that's fair.
But I feel like I would get bored with it very quickly. I'm not a video games person.
Have you ever played Sims?
Back in the day
Okay.
when, yeah, but like in 6th grade when I wasn't allowed to, and my brother was playing it, I would like, yeah, every now and then. Mm-hmm. But
it's kind of like that. I've seen people play Animal Crossing, and it's kind of like that where it's just, and Sims can get boring too.
Yeah,
like because it's one of those. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, there's only so many times you can like have a house and like or something like that.
Or like drown characters, because that's something people do.
Right, yeah. Set people on fire.
Reason. I saw like this blog post about the craziest things people do in Sims, and I was like, what is wrong with you guys?
What are we doing?
Like it was one of the darkest things I've ever heard anybody do in a video game, maybe. Like, because basically they were like, oh yeah, so what I did was I took a character, I made him really ugly, and I put him in the basement.
Oh.
And the only thing they could do is paint.
Interesting.
But I would lock all the doors. They couldn't get out of the basement, and they would just paint. But there was a family living above them, and I would sell the paintings to fund that family's life.
Okay.
And they had no idea that there was someone living in the basement. And I'm like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah.
This is no longer a teenage video game.
Yeah. No,
this is dark.
That's bad.
Yeah. People do the crazy things in Sims.
Yeah, I've heard of the dark lore of Sims, but that is something.
Dark.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Yeah, it is. It's a crazy story. There are a lot more, and that's another one. Was like someone was like, "Oh, I killed almost everybody in town so I can make a cemetery," and it's only because I wanted a cemetery. And I'm like, bro,
like, just take a walk.
Just take a walk.
Go for a walk. Call your family. Do
something. See a therapist.
Books are cool.
Therapy is an option.
option.
Instead of playing Sims, therapy. Why not?
Maybe not. Even in simulations, don't bury people just for the fun of it.
Craziness.
Or I don't know. I don't even know.
I mean, I guess they're not hurting anybody besides the simulation, but like, just it's still a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's, of course, that like those conspiracy theories, like what if those Sims are real people?
Right.
You're hurting real people who are simulations, and we're all in a
And we're all in the simulation. I mean, that's a legit theory. That's definitely like not as much as conspiracy theory. Like that is a legit one that has been proposed before. So yeah. But you did say something about books. That is one thing that I really wish I would do more of in grad. I have tried to write in grad school, like creative writing. Like it makes stories, but like, I just, again, like it requires time and effort and someone who actually knows how to write. But
I mean, you know how to write.
I know how to type. Like I can make words in a sentence.
Form sentences. And
paragraphs.
Use conjunctions. And
I don't know how to describe anything. Like the water flowed. Like I don't know how it flowed.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not my forte. But yeah, I feel like that would be a really good way to de-stress, because I've been wanting to read more as well. And I've been trying to like talk to my friends about, especially like more social justice things. But in general, I just haven't been reading for fun at
Yeah.
all. So I do miss that.
It just takes a lot of time to read. Reading takes time. It's not like video games or D&D where it's like you could talk it out. You could just play it out. But reading requires you to be like present in that. If you can't really do much besides just sit there with the book, and that could be kind of mentally draining sometimes.
Yeah, especially when I feel like 75% of our days are spent reading articles. It just gets overwhelming
Yeah.
at a certain point. So, yeah.
Audiobooks is one that is an option. Also, podcasts
Yes.
like like Be Scientists, for example.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to, they're like, "Have you heard of the B-Scientist?" I'm like, "No, I gotta check it out." So, no, just kidding. B-Scientist is great.
It's a great podcast. You should definitely leave a heart or star on whatever platform you're listening to.
That would be amazing. Maybe a share or two.
Share or two.
Or several.
Maybe retweet it, or if you can figure it out, because I probably can't.
Yeah, no. I still need to get a Twitter.
You maybe don't need a Twitter.
You know, I really don't want one. But
Don't
everyone's
do it.
like, "Oh, did you see my tweet?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I did not see your tweet."
No,
Why
I
would
didn't. I
want
did
to
not
do
see your
that?
tweet.
I will never see
Hilarious.
your tweet.
It's the way you said it. I'm sorry.
Just, you know,
You sounded so fed up with it.
like honestly, I'm at the point where I've thought about, buying those little like connections that you have on your glasses so that if they fall off, it'll just hang like a necklace. I forget what they're called,
I don't know.
but that's where I'm at.
Just-
That excites me. I'm like, I'm gonna look that up and get that because
That's where you are in life right now.
that's where I'm at. Oh, man.
No, that's fair. Twitter's overwhelming is what it is sometimes. It's just a lot of things happening. It's not as bad as it was, say, a couple months ago when particular individuals were on Twitter.
Ugh.
But it's better, but it's still also a part of Twitter. Because there's little like factions on each social media platform where it's like, this is where people talk about anime, for example. Like Chad Singleton, who's our science communication officer, is also really big in anime. So you should listen to the Square Roundtable if you don't already.
Yeah, they have amazing guests all the time. And I'm just like, is everyone seeing this?
How are they getting these guys?
How are they doing this?
I asked Chad that a lot, actually. He's just like, we just reach out. And just like, I mean, dope.
What a concept.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, like, so there's like anime Twitter, but there's also academic Twitter. And that's when it starts to feel like a job again.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everyone's still. I think what I dislike about academia the most is everyone's always got this facade of like, yeah, I totally got it all figured out. Here, see my flowery language. This is
Right.
how I can show you that I know what I'm talking about. And it's like, no, you don't. No one knows what they're talking about.
Nope.
Just be chill.
Just chill out.
But no one ever does that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just a lot. Like, I think we do that to ourselves as academics. We just don't know how to turn it off because to be an academic requires passion in the thing you're studying. So it is hard to like. I like science, so like a lot of the things I also do to de-stress are like science related. Like if I'm on YouTube, like I'm probably going to go check out Crash Course. Like even if it's just like one episode, I might just go check out something.
And like Veritasium, I love that one.
Oh yeah. And Vsauce.
Yes.
I love Vsauce. Also Kursk Casasa, and I've talked about it 100 million times.
So good,
but it's
though.
so damn good. But that's not me turning it off necessarily. It's a way of almost getting there, but it's still science related. I'm still like involved in the thinking process, so it's not like I could do other things.
Well, I mean, yeah, and my advisor mentions it all the time, but it's like you're learning things to really only know everything about this one niche subject. So I feel like being able to broaden your scope in a way that's like enjoyable for you, I feel like that's amazing because it's always best to be a well-rounded scientist and not just know this one thing and that's all you've got, to
Yeah,
provide for society. So I feel like it makes you more of a well-rounded scientist.
I agree in some respects. Like I do think it definitely helps. I just wish I could turn it off a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I just need to have more de-stressing things. Like, and sometimes I need, it's nice to be critical and like scientifically minded, but it can be exhausting. It's just,
are you still doing kickboxing?
yeah, I do that. That's part of my weekly routine. I've even tried to start running more.
Man, that's impressive.
I mean, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, if you want more like encouragement to
Yeah,
know that you're doing great,
I do appreciate
I
it.
literally just did a 7-day trial at Anytime Fitness, and I went twice,
Oh,
which I think is pretty good.
that's dope.
That's pretty good for
Once would have
me.
been good too.
Yeah, and so, but I did end it. I'm not doing that again.
Again,
So, but I respect you
I appreciate it.
for
It's
like having a routine. A routine, you said?
routine, air
Wow,
quotes. It's like
inspiring.
I do think it's fun. Don't get me wrong, and it is like when I was back in Philly was the thing that was like, um, because it'd be like calculus, physics, GRE. I'm tired. What am I gonna do now? I'm gonna go punch a bag or kick a bag, and it helped.
Yeah.
It's definitely gets rid of some pent up energy for sure. But yeah, I mean it is a thing to do. But there are other things like just taking a walk. I have really liked taking walks around Athens. Not necessarily like your downtown for per se, but like just like the trails, like Sandy Creek Nature Center.
Yeah, it's really nice
Yeah.
actually. I just recently went there to do like a little like cleanup thing,
Oh,
and
nice.
the actual center, if you go inside, it's so
It's
nice.
cool in there. Yeah.
It's really cute and adorable.
Yeah.
It's like a little mini aquarium.
Right. Yeah. There's an aquarium in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's like a bee sanctuarium in there too, which is cool to look at from the inside. You're like, because you can kind of see where the bees are like getting into Sandy Creek from the outside, and then when you get inside, you're like, oh, they working. Them
Yeah.
bees working.
Yeah.
Don't come near me though, because
No.
I don't want them to touch me.
Yeah, I don't want the heat.
No,
The
I don't.
bed.
I nope. I don't want that stink.
Don't need that.
I don't want that at all. But it's cool, also, the botanical gardens are another place that I really started going to recently. Because I've knew they were there before like COVID and all that stuff. I was like, I'm gonna go one day, but COVID happened. I just need to go do some new stuff, and that was a good one. You just walk around. There's nice flowers. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then there's other trails. And one thing that's become like one of my new like quarantine hobbies is photography. Like I've been
Ooh.
trying to get into it, and that is a good way to de-stress. For some reason, I do not understand why, but because I was like, I want to kind of be like, because Be Scientist is actually trying to develop a magazine, um, and because we're trying to develop a magazine, I was like, we should probably have some cool pictures on like the front, and it'd be nice to
Yeah,
just have pictures that we can just put up without having to pay necessarily.
indeed.
So I was like, I'm gonna try to learn photography so I can help out with that. Um, but then it was like, oh, like how do Nat Geo people take photos? How do other people take photos? And then that led down to like me being on YouTube for like hours, just being like, how do you take photos and
Nice.
how do you record video? Because we're also trying to do videos in the fall too. So it was just stuff like that, and that's become one of my quarantine hobbies, and I've really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah, you sound like you've been very productive. So that's impressive.
Productive. What does that mean? I have not been. I
Nah.
disagree. I've been um procrastinative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's still a form of productivity
Okay,
in my
sure.
eyes. So still impressed.
Yeah. Have you have any quarantine hobbies?
Hobbies. Yeah, see that this is actually something I've been trying to figure out because
Okay.
I don't really have any, come to think of it, but we'll get there someday. I've
Photography is an easy one to get into because you just need a cell
yeah,
phone.
and I've honestly been considering changing from Apple because these Samsung Galaxies, like and this is no promotion unless y'all
It's
do
not
reach out.
unless
and
you
pay
got
us.
money.
That would be nice. But man, they take great pictures, like really high quality photos. So I've been considering that because I've had my phone for like nearly 5 years, and I do think it's almost time
Yeah.
because it will. You know how Apple is.
Yeah.
They just find ways to bug your phone, and then it's like, oh, it looks like you need a new phone. Anyway, but
He wants to send us some money though. It's fine. We won't say anything else.
Exactly. We will take.
We'll take money.
That.
We want some money.
But yeah, not really. I really wanted to start doing home brewing, but it is incredibly expensive it's an expensive hobby.
It is. I've seen it in action. It can be expensive.
Yeah, and time consuming.
Yes.
So at some point I would like to do that.
What are some other, like gardening's one that's pretty, it's
Yeah.
a kind of it's a lower bar, but you also need the space.
Yeah, I do have a couple plants that are on the verge of dying, which is fun.
I think I see them.
Yeah. I think
You guys
they
got this. You can do it.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
there's some kind of like fungal infection that's happening, but I don't know.
Okay.
And then I did kill another plant, so that was good. And what else? Man, so much to keep up with.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with.
But yeah, no, mainly I've just been trying to survive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like, my hobbies really just come from my ADHD. It's just really just me just being like, oh, what? I can't entirely focus on this thing. Oh, wait, there's another thing over here. Let me go try that for a sec. Oh, there's 10 other things. Oh, okay. That's really all it is. It's literally just how my brain works.
I think that makes you more of an interesting person, though, because I love TikTok. It's such a bad habit that
no, it is.
you learn
But I also
so much.
enjoy TikTok.
Yeah, and it's just like having a conversation with someone can get so boring unless you have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the ability to think about different things, be fully attentive to that thing, even if it's random, it still gives you something to talk about in conversation. So I feel like it never makes your conversations dull.
No,
So
I guess that is kind of me. I mean, I just think about the times we would be at CIS, and I just come in like and just sit down and be like, "What's going on with you guys?" Oh, it's been about an hour. I've taken enough of all 3 to 10 of your time. I'm gonna get out of here now.
No, that was always fine because I am lazy. And so that is not a problem.
Okay, it makes me feel a little bit better about that thing. Because sometimes I would know that I was like, I've been sitting here talking for way too long and everyone's being way too nice.
No, because we're all just like, yeah, I don't want to do work right now.
No, that's fair too.
But also, if Alex does walk in, we should be productive but Alex is great.
Alex is great.
He's one of those traditional scientists who's just like, go, go, go all the time. And truly an inspiration. He literally fought a polar bear once. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's Russian.
there's that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't think too much into it. It was mostly just my fear of Alex and wanting.
I mean,
him
he
to
fought
think
a
that
polar bear.
Yeah, I just wanted him to think I was cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
I did email him recently. He didn't respond. So, but that's okay.
He's probably fighting another polar bear.
Yeah. No, I'm totally not taking that personally.
Cool. I mean, that's really just what it's been just this semester. And again, I know this podcast is a little bit like all over the place today. We do have guests coming up. We have a guest coming up in our next episode.
Yeah, Dr. Kamin Mukaz.
So we're going to record that episode on May 15th. We do hope that podcast interviews become they're going to be here for the foreseeable future. So we're excited to meet more people. All of our podcast guests have been great up until now, and we know that all of the new ones will be just as good, if not better. We're super excited for that. Like I said, the magazine is in development. It's kind of a big announcement, I guess. I don't think we've really talked about that on the podcast, but Taylor Spencer, who was our secretary when we first founded, is now our editing content manager and officer, and she is spearheading that development of the magazine. And we're super excited because at some point, we want to make it open to your submissions. That is you, the listener. If you would like to be in a magazine, you might get that chance one day. We're still trying to figure out some of those details, but we are very excited about that. The first issue will be coming out whenever we're done with finals, pretty much, because again, a lot of B-SCI is made up of grad students, and if we're not in finals right now, we just got out of it basically. So it's been kind of tough to do certain things, but we are trying to do that. We're really excited about it. We also have been talking to some other organizations about how to make this work. We hope this is another outlet for Black scientists and other underrepresented scientists to have an outlet to talk about their stories and their lives and the things that inspire them. Because and part of the reason, like I said, is that I use science to de-stress sometimes and just use it. It's because it's super inspiring, and I love hearing stories about people using science to be inspiring. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. No, our guests have been really, really awesome people and so inspiring, I think, for me, just to see someone on the other side of the finish line,
Yeah.
who I feel like I can relate to on several levels. So it's been really nice, and I am so excited to continue to do that and continue to meet more people. And if you have any feedback for us, that would be really great.
Yes.
Also,
Send us an email at contactus@thebsci.org, or just DM us on, whatever social media platform you're currently on. And just like, hey, you guys should do this a little better. All right, cool. We'll try.
yeah. And I guess as a final shout out, I want any ladies of the Black and African diaspora to please register for STEM Noir's 2021 virtual conference.
Yes.
Today, May 1st, we're recording this, so at this point, abstracts have already been due. But there is still registration, and you can still sign up to be a part of a really important community and, network with some people. So that's on the radar as well. That'll be on the later part of June. So stay tuned for some updates on that on our website, as well as at STEM Noir on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm sure other social media platforms.
Yeah, they have a website. I think it is just stemnoir.com. The conference is
.org, I think.
.org. And I think the conference is June 23rd to the 25th. I think we will have the date in our citation archives, which you can find on b-sci.org. But yeah, also shout out to Dr. Chanel Tolson, because she is part of STEM Noir, and she's helping to organize the conference.
And just general amazing human.
Oh yeah, she's a legend. I don't know what else to say besides that. Anytime we talk to her, I'm just like, legend. Like, that's just usually the first thing I say.
I'm always just like, oh, that's what productivity looks like.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are some other dope Black scientists as part of STEM Noir who are killing it. So yeah, please, if you are interested, please attend that. Also, there will be a Black and X conference later this summer too. I don't remember those dates, but I know it's currently being developed as well. And if you haven't heard about Black and X, please look it up. It is a dope organization that is trying to get off the ground, and there's a lot of other organizations that are kind of affiliated, and B-SCI kind of is too. We're actually helping them develop some stuff. So yeah, go check that out, and we'll have more news about that as that comes around too.
Yeah, and I guess unless there are any other updates, we just want to thank you for listening.
Yeah, we're almost done this semester, so thanks for joining us this semester. We probably will take a break in a few weeks.
Yeah, Juneteenth is coming up, and I think that's going to be a big celebration for everyone. And we can all restore ourselves from working so hard this semester, this year, just in general. Everyone should make sure to just listen to yourself and take breaks when you need to, because that's so important. And yeah, we just appreciate you, and thank you for listening and growing with us on this journey. And just be scientist.
Yeah, be scientist. Jenna, as always, thanks for just making this podcast with me.
Yeah, no, thank you for also making this podcast.
So we're going to catch you guys later. And like Jenna said, just be scientists, and we'll catch you next time. Be Scientists is a podcast by the Black Science Coalition and Institute, or B-SCI, a 501c3 nonprofit. Be Scientists is hosted by both Jenna Carpenter, chemist and B-SCI's Research and Development Officer, and Jordan Chapman, geoarchaeologist and B-SCI's president. Music is produced by Delaralo, and lyrics are by Jana. Special thanks to Michael, Mike, Cast, and Marshall, and the Plaza Abbey Studios. If you would like to donate to B-SCI, visit our official website, bsci.org. That's b-sci.org. Your donation supports Be Scientists and B-SCI's other projects. We couldn't do it without you. So please tune in next time, and always be scientists.